Have you ever wondered why some homeless individuals refuse the shelter provided to them? As we delve into the unseen reality of homelessness, we invite you to embark on this journey with us. A journey that might challenge your existing perceptions and open your eyes to a world often overlooked. When we think of homelessness, images of people sleeping on sidewalks, in parks, or under bridges may immediately come to mind. But homelessness is not just about not having a roof over your head. It's a complex issue that intertwines with mental health, addiction, trauma, and a myriad of other social and economic factors. Now let's talk about the numbers. According to the United Nations, there are over 150 million homeless individuals worldwide. That's roughly equivalent to half the population of the United States. Shocking, isn't it? And yet this number only scratches the surface of the issue. Many of us believe that the solution to homelessness is as simple as providing shelters. But the reality is far from that. There exists a phenomenon known as shelter refusal, where homeless individuals choose not to utilize shelters even when they're available. This may seem counterintuitive at first. Why would someone who has nowhere to go refuse a place to stay? But the reasons are complex and deeply personal. For some, it's about maintaining their autonomy. For others, it's about avoiding the often harsh and restrictive conditions of the shelters. And for many, it's about the fear and mistrust of institutions built from years of trauma and negative experiences. It's easy to judge from the outside looking in, but the truth is we can't fully understand the choices of these individuals unless we've walked a mile in their shoes. And so, in our quest to unravel the intricacies of this issue, we've spoken with some of those directly affected and experts in the field. In order to understand why this is happening, we've spoken with some of those directly affected and experts in the field. So let's keep our minds open, our judgments aside, and listen to their stories. Hear the stories straight from those who have chosen to remain on the streets. We delve into the heart of the matter, connecting with those who have opted for the open sky over the safety of a shelter. Their voices echo the harsh reality of life on the streets, a reality often overlooked by many. Meet John, a man of few words but a story that speaks volumes. He tells us, the shelters, they're not what you think. They're overcrowded, and the rules, they strip you of your dignity. Out here it's hard, but I still have my freedom. Then there's Mary, her eyes mirroring the hardship she's faced. I've been in shelters where I felt less safe than when I'm out here on the streets. The fights, the theft, the lack of privacy. It's a constant battle. At least on the streets I know what I'm up against. We talked to Sarah, a young woman who's seen more in her short life than most of us could ever imagine. The shelters are like a band-aid on a bullet wound. They don't address the root of the problem. There's no help for mental health, addiction. It's just a place to sleep. And then there's Tom, a veteran whose voice shakes as he speaks. I fought for this country and now I'm fighting for a place to sleep each night. The shelters, they're no place for someone like me. I'm not a number. I'm a person. These stories, these voices are a stark reminder of the realities faced by those who choose the streets over the shelter. The reasons vary, from a desire for freedom and dignity, to safety concerns, to the need for more comprehensive support. But at the heart of it all is a common thread, a system that fails to fully comprehend or cater to the complex needs of its most vulnerable citizens. It's a sobering reality, one that calls for a deeper understanding and a more compassionate response. These are not isolated cases, but represent a broader issue within our society. Scene script. Experts in the field shed light on the complexities of homelessness and shelter refusal. Let's delve into the insights of professionals who work tirelessly in the field of homelessness. These are the social workers, psychologists, and researchers who've dedicated their lives to understanding and addressing this pressing issue. Firstly, the psychological factors. Psychologists often point out that many individuals living on the streets suffer from mental illnesses such as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. These conditions can make it incredibly difficult for them to accept the structure and rules that come with living in a shelter. Furthermore, years of living on the streets can lead to a condition known as chronic homelessness. This is when an individual has been homeless for so long that they've become accustomed to the lifestyle. They may find it difficult to adapt to living in a sheltered environment and may even feel more comfortable on the streets. Next, societal factors. Many homeless individuals often feel stigmatized and judged by society. This sense of alienation can make them reluctant to seek help from shelters. They may feel that these institutions represent the society that has rejected them, further deepening their reluctance. Finally, systemic factors. There are often stringent rules within shelters that some homeless individuals find hard to adhere to. These may include curfews, sobriety requirements, and restrictions on personal belongings. For some, these rules can feel oppressive, leading them to prefer the relative freedom of the streets. In addition, the lack of affordable housing and adequate mental health services play a significant role in the persisting issue of homelessness. These systemic problems often trap individuals in a cycle of homelessness that's difficult to break. In conclusion, the reasons why some homeless individuals refuse shelter are complex and multifaceted. They stem from psychological, societal, and systemic issues that are deeply interwoven. It's essential to understand these complexities in order to tackle the issue effectively. Understanding the issue is the first step towards finding effective solutions. Homelessness and shelter refusal is a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach. It's a puzzle with many pieces, each representing a different challenge, from mental health to addiction, from societal stigma to a lack of resources. Let's revisit the key points we've discussed. We've heard the real, raw stories from those living on the streets. We've listened to the insights of experts who work tirelessly to solve this issue. The common thread: the need for empathy, understanding, and systemic change. Empathy is not just about feeling sorry for someone. It's about putting ourselves in their shoes, trying to comprehend the struggles they face daily. It's about recognizing that each homeless person is an individual, with their own unique story and reasons for refusing shelter. Some fear the restrictive rules and potential violence of shelters. Others struggle with mental health issues that make living in close quarters with others difficult. Some simply crave the independence that the streets, despite their hardships, can provide. Understanding is the next step. We need to understand that the reasons for homelessness and shelter refusal are as varied as the people who experience it. We need to understand that the solution is not as simple as building more shelters. It's about addressing the root causes, like lack of affordable housing, mental health support, and addiction treatment. And finally, systemic change. We need to challenge the systems that perpetuate homelessness. We need to push for policies that make housing more affordable, that increase funding for mental health services, that tackle addiction rather than punishing it. We need to change the narrative around homelessness, to see it not as a personal failing, but as a societal one. It's a daunting task, no doubt, but it's not an impossible one. It requires a shift in our mindset, a commitment to change, and the collective effort of society. Change starts with understanding, and understanding starts with listening to the voices of those most affected. Let's listen, let's understand, and let's change the world for the better. Together, we can make a difference.